Hey guys, Ike here from Mike'sOutdoors.com. Today I want to talk to you about getting the most out of your trail cameras by keeping track of the information that they're giving you. Okay, so trail cameras are one of the most useful tools that the modern hunter has at his disposal. When I started hunting back in the early 90s, 30 years ago, it was go out and do some scouting. We went out, we found trails, we found sign, we found scat, we found tracks, we found, rubs, we found things like that to try to give us an idea of where the deer were, where they were moving, and what direction they were moving. We really didn't have much indication of what time or what the deer actually were. Nowadays, we have trail cameras at our disposal that tell us what deer it is. We have pictures of these deer, we have videos of these deer, we have the moon phase, we have the temperature, we have the exact time that they walk through, we have everything that we need right there at our fingertips. And keeping track of all this information can get overwhelming and it can get kind of daunting, and I actually found myself the last 2 years not keeping track of it. I would go through my trail camera pictures and I would just be scrolling, oh, big buck. Scrolling, oh, big buck. Scrolling. I wasn't even really looking at what time they were coming in, mornings, night. I wasn't really using the trail cameras to the full potential that I should have been doing. So I've kind of gone back to what I used to do. And there are a lot of apps out there that help you keep track of this information. There's, computer programs and stuff like that. And I don't need any more crap to have to deal with on a computer. In a day, I work as a shop technician for R&D, and I'm also a drafter. So I'm on a computer a lot. I'm burned out of being on my phone all the damn time and on the computer all the damn time, and it's not something else. I don't need another app, and I don't need another thing to have to deal with on the computer. So I use a notebook. This is all I use to keep track of my trail camera pictures. And I use this for a couple different, I keep track of my cameras here. It's probably too bright with all the lights to see, but I keep track of my cameras here, what cameras I have. I keep track of my cards. I have a couple modems that make those cameras into wireless cameras. So I keep track of what cameras that I have here, what cards that I have here. I have a log here of what cameras I have out and where I have those cameras out, because believe it or not, I have actually forgotten in the past where I put cameras out and lost cameras in the woods. There is one camera on one of our leases that I put in a weird spot just to see what was going on over there, and we still can't find it, and it's been 3 or 4 years ago. I know that I put it out there and we just can't find it. So I started keeping track of where I put those cameras, and I do use OnX for that as well. Every time I drop a camera, I use OnX app and actually just mark a spot where that camera's at. But here's the crux of this video and what we're really talking about here. Every time I go get a camera, I enter into this log the information that is relevant to me for that spot. Like this one, this is a 2-man stand that we have on the backside of one of our properties, so I have that written down. And every picture of a deer, I have the information written down, so I have that all in front of me. I have a buck, what he was an 8-pointer, when I saw him, evening, morning, what direction he was headed, the moon phase. The temperature is really not relevant right now because it's 95 degrees every day, but I have that as far as buck, spike, buck, doe, buck, doe, how many were in the picture, what direction they were going, what time they were there, what the moon phase was there. And I get these big long lists of deer and deer movement like this one. It's a page full of deer and deer movement, and then I can sit back and I can analyze this data. And I like doing this. Some people don't like doing this, but there are some apps that do this for you. So I can go back and I can identify all the bucks. Okay, when were the bucks mostly moving through, morning or afternoons? Okay, they're moving through in the afternoons. What direction were they headed? They were coming from the south and going to the north. That tells me that they are bedding somewhere south of that stand and getting up from there and then heading across through there. That also tells me that my best chance of getting on those bucks is probably in the afternoon. and it tells me, you know, the does are coming from the opposite direction, and they're coming in the morning, so it tells me they're bedding in that direction. So it gives me a clear roadmap of data on what those deer are doing. You know, by this information, that is exactly what I gleaned from this information off that trail camera. I know that there are at least 4 bucks in there, 2 of them are shooters, and I know they're bedding somewhere north of that stand. It was actually north. And by that information, I know they're coming in through the evenings, so they're getting out of their bed, they're coming through there in the evenings, and I know because of that situation, because I know the land, there's 2 draws that come down, and those bucks will bed on either side of that draw depending on the wind. So now I know those bucks are bedding down in between those 2 draws, Big Buck Ridge and Center Ridge is what we call them. They're bedding down in between Big Buck Ridge and Center Ridge, and they're getting up in the evening and they're coming by this particular stand. So now I know where they're bedding. So as the food source changes and as things change as the year goes along, I can adjust myself to that because I know where those bucks are bedding. As it gets closer to the rut, things are going to change, but I know where those bucks are bedding now, and I know what direction, at least for now, they're coming out of that. More importantly is the does, because the does generally don't change like the bucks do. I know in that particular stand that the bucks or the does are bedding south of there, and because when I walked in and got that camera, I spotted a couple of them bedded up in there, I know exactly where they're bedding. So they're coming in, they're coming out of that bedding area, and they're moving past this tree stand, and it makes it all this information, when I put it all together, gives me an actual clear mental picture of what's going on this property without guessing, without second thinking, trying to get all this information organized in my head and trying to get all this information organized and get a clear map of it. Because I use this trail camera diary, or whatever you want to call it, trail camera notebook, it's all right there in front of me. All I have to do is put the data in, analyze the data, and I can get a clear picture of what's going on. This is a super tool to help you kill more deer and to help you get on those big bucks and those target deer on your property. So keep a trail camera notebook, keep a trail camera diary, whatever the hell you want to call it. Use an app for it or something like that, and it will really help you in the long run to kill more deer. So it will really help you to organize that data and keep it all straight. So that's just a tip that I have for you guys on your trail cameras and what I do. I hope this helps you to kill more deer and helps you to be more successful in the woods this fall. If you want to follow us on social media, we're under Ike's Outdoors on Instagram and Facebook. We do post quite a bit of stuff on there, so if you want to follow us there, we'd really appreciate it. And please take 2 seconds, hit that like button, or hit that subscribe button is what I really would like you to do, is hit that subscribe button and follow us right here on YouTube. That really does help us, and really does help us to get our numbers up there on our subscriptions, and helps us in the long run to continue doing these YouTube videos. So until next time, I appreciate you guys watching these videos, and we'll see you then.